As the fires of the Second World War burned across the globe, a covert operation was taking shape in the heart of the Imperial Japanese Army. Its code name, Unit 731. Located in Harbin, China, with outposts throughout China and Singapore, this was no ordinary military unit, but rather a clandestine research facility, purpose-built and shrouded in secrecy. Its mission? To spearhead biological warfare research. In the depths of this top-secret facility, built in 1937, scientists and military personnel worked tirelessly, their minds focused on a single, chilling objective. Led by Japanese Surgeon General and microbiologist Shiro Ishii, they were to develop biological weapons of unparalleled power, capable of disseminating deadly pathogens such as anthrax, plague, and botulism. Their ambition was as far-reaching as it was terrifying. Among their projects was the development of bombs filled with plague-infested fleas, designed to carry their deadly cargo across the Pacific and into the heart of the United States. This planned attack was called Operation Cherry Blossoms at Night. Ultimately, this project was abandoned, but it was not before balloon firebombs had reached American soil, killing several innocent civilians. But this real-life horror story is not just about the development of terrifying weapons. It's also a story of human experimentation on an unimaginable scale. Innocent civilians, prisoners of war, pregnant women, children, babies, and the elderly. None were spared the brutal and inhumane experiments conducted within the walls of Unit 731. Yet, despite the horrors that unfolded within its confines, the existence of Unit 731 remained hidden, its activities shrouded in darkness. The world outside remained blissfully unaware of the atrocities being committed under the guise of scientific research and military advancement. Even the surrounding villages were none the wiser, as the facility was known to them as the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. Other villagers were told it was a lumber mill, hence the reason why the victims became known as maritus, or logs, dehumanizing them even further. A sick running joke amongst these wicked scientists was asking how many logs fell that day and had to be sent to the incinerator to burn. And so, in the shadows of war, Unit 731 began its dark work, unbeknownst to the world outside. Beneath the guise of medical research, a nightmare was unfolding within the walls of the secret facility. An ominous shadow of inhumanity, Unit 731 conducted experiments that were nothing short of brutal and horrifying. The victims were not patients but subjects, human guinea pigs for the development of deadly pathogens. Imagine the terror of being used as a test subject for the development of weapons that could disseminate anthrax, plague, and botulism. These pathogens are no ordinary diseases, they are killers, merciless and indiscriminate. The facility was not just a laboratory but a factory of death, churning out tools of biological warfare. But the horror doesn't end there. Vivisections were performed on victims seeking medical aid. The term vivisection is perhaps too clinical, too sterile for what was truly a horrific act. The victims were infected with bacteria, chemicals, and pathogens, which were then allowed to run their course. Then the test subjects endured horrific surgeries and live dissections while fully conscious, with no anesthesia to ease their suffering. They were often kept alive for an extended period after the procedures to observe the progression of the disease. The scientists believed anesthesia and pain medicines would skew the results of their research. Japanese medical students and new surgeons would come to Unit 731 to practice surgeries and dissections on live prisoners, leading to their excruciating death. This barbaric practice included children, babies, and pregnant women. It was not surgery, it was butchery. Another act of cruelty was their frostbite research. Test patients were subjected to extreme cold conditions by exposing them to sub-zero temperatures or submerging their limbs in icy water. To see if they could reverse the frostbite, the wicked scientists would then plunge their frozen limbs into water heated to various temperatures, including boiling water. Other frostbitten limbs were allowed to thaw out naturally, which resulted in deadly gangrene. These were not medical procedures. They were acts of torture, carried out not for the benefit of the patient, but for the advancement of a perverse form of science. The true horror of Unit 731 lies not only in the atrocities committed, but also in the meticulousness with which they were recorded. Each experiment, each act of cruelty was carefully documented. Other insidious experiments that are on record include using live humans as target practice for their flamethrowers, guards impregnating women through assault, and forcing healthy prisoners to be intimate with other prisoners infected with syphilis. The perpetrators didn't see their acts as crimes, but as contributions to the advancement of biological warfare. Each experiment, a testament to the depths of human cruelty, was meticulously recorded for the advancement of biological warfare. As World War II ended, the true horror of Unit 731 began to unravel. The veil of secrecy was finally lifted when Allied forces stumbled upon the covert research facility. The discovery was as shocking as it was horrifying. The remnants of the facility bore silent testimony to the brutality and inhumanity that had transpired within its walls. The ghosts of Unit 731's victims lingered in every corner. Each one, a poignant reminder of the horrific experiments they were subjected to. As the Allied forces explored further, they unearthed evidence of the unit's gruesome attempts to exterminate all traces of their heinous deeds. The human test subjects, who had endured unimaginable torture, were brutally killed, and their bodies burned along with anything else that could reveal the horrors that occurred within those walls. A desperate attempt to erase the evidence, but the truth had a way of surfacing. The aftermath of Unit 731's activities was felt far beyond the confines of the facility. In a cruel twist of fate, the unit had intentionally released plague-infected rats into Chinese villages as the final part of their extermination plan. These rats, carriers of deadly pathogens, spread like wildfire, causing devastating epidemics of bubonic plague amongst unsuspecting communities. The death toll of the rat plague is estimated at 20,000 and lasted for years. During Japan's reign of cruelty, it is estimated over 300,000 people died in China, with an additional tens of thousands perishing in Unit 731. This is a stark reminder of the depths of cruelty humans could descend to in the name of research and warfare. Yet the world had to grapple with another unsettling truth. The legacy of Unit 731 is not just one of horror, but also of profound injustice. To understand the full gravity of this statement, one must delve into the unpalatable truths of post-World War II politics. The American government, it seems, had a hand in this unsettling legacy. After the war, when the atrocities of Unit 731 came to light, a shocking decision was made. Rather than holding the perpetrators accountable, the United States chose to conceal the horrors. Why, you may ask? The answer is as chilling as the experiments themselves. They granted immunity to high-ranking members of Unit 731, not out of mercy, but in exchange for information. The very people who had overseen the brutal and inhumane experiments on innocent civilians, prisoners of war, pregnant women, children, and the elderly were given a free pass. But that's not all. The knowledge derived from these horrifying experiments was deemed valuable enough to ignore the torment and suffering of countless victims. Those granted immunity were even given money, food, entertainment, and gifts unknowingly funded by American taxpayers. A dark bargain was struck, and the truth was swept under the rug, leaving the victims without justice. But the story doesn't end there. Some of these individuals, these purveyors of death and suffering, went on to hold prominent positions in medicine and politics. For example, one researcher became the governor of Tokyo, one became the head of the Japan Olympic Committee, and another became the president of the Japan Medical Association. The mastermind of Unit 731, Shiro Ishii, was granted immunity and lived out the rest of his life as a free and respected man, surrounded by friends and family. They continued their lives in prosperity, while the echoes of their victims' screams were left unheard, their stories untold. The horrific legacy of Unit 731 is a grim reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink in the name of scientific progress and warfare. It's a chapter of history that is often glossed over, yet it is one we cannot afford to forget. It challenges us to reflect on the value of human life and the ethics of scientific research. Remember to like, subscribe, and share for more disturbing history stories. There are some details too graphic for YouTube, so visit our blog, disturbinghistory.com, for a deep dive into the darkest moments in history. Together, let's ensure these stories are never forgotten.